What's going on, guys? Duelim here, back again with another video, and today we've got the Counter Everything Guide for Season 7 of Cosmic Crucible, and I'm super excited for this one because this season looks like it's going to have the most variety. We absolutely have the most entries after Week 1 ever. We are up to 116 entries at the time of recording this video, which is absolutely amazing, so keep those coming in, and I will keep updating this video as more counters come out, as more defenses come out, and as more teams come out. But until then, let's get into this one with the first counter. Kicking off with room number 1, we've got X-Treme+Dorm dropping Cyclops, and the counter to this, you can use Cabal with Kang and Titania is a pretty good option, and it's done a 900k punch up. You'll see that one by Zoboy Fresh on the counter sheet, but the other option that you can use is also MOE with APOC. I personally will have a counter on the counter sheet with that one, and it's a great match. You just got to play it pretty slow. Wait till you get to the APOC ult deletes, and then wait till you get to Kang ult. Kang ult also deletes, takes out those revive onces, and it's a really, really straightforward matchup. Next up, we've got X-Treme+Jubilee instead, and this is going to still be dropping Gambit. The counter for this one is Superior 6 Vulture is a good one. I think MOE can still do really well here because they can still control the Forge pretty well. You just have to watch out for ISOs in this room, obviously, because if Forge is a Raider, he will clear that ability block from Titania that you put turn 1 if you use MOE here. Superior 6 Vulture, though, is probably the better option and the much safer option. The last defense in this room is going to be X-Treme+Rogue, and this can also be beat by MOE. It's played the exact same as you've played it before, but please refer to the counter sheet if you haven't seen the fight. Again, you got to remember to check out ISOs, so if you see Forge as a Raider, make sure you understand that he is going to clear that ability block when he takes his turn, but normally with MOE, you're able to make it so Forge can't even get to his turn because that slow from Titania will slow him down enough, and then you can get a rewind from Ultron, or you can get that rewind from Moonstone, as long as you didn't push them too hard and you're not stuck on the Rogue taunt. But this matchup is super straightforward. MOE is a great way to go. You could also use Superior 6, but I think MOE would be the best bet to not have to use an Apex team like Superior 6. Coming into room number 2, we've got Raid on Crucible, and the first team we're going to talk about is obviously Bifrost. This is the big nuisance that a lot of people have been having trouble with. There's going to be 2 counters for this one. The first one is going to be Straight Hivemind. Straight Hivemind is super straightforward. You're going to use the Void Knight special turn 1 on Sylvie, so you're taking that energy away from her, and then pretty much you play it out from there. Chase kills, focus the lowest people, which is usually either Loki or Teen Loki. Normally it's going to be Loki, though, because he's going to have the lowest armor. So look at power levels and make sure you're trying to do the most amount of damage to the lowest character. Also, placement does matter, so make sure you have Carnage on the far end away from Red Goblin, because Carnage will most likely be your highest health toon, who will have the taunt. So in Sylvie Basics, it doesn't rewind important characters. So placement will matter. It'll be the placement that you'll see down below here. The other counter for this is going to be Pegasus with Void Knight, and you're going to be taking out Kestrel. So the way this works is essentially Pegasus will go a bunch of turns in a row first, and then by the time Void Knight gets to his turn, most of their buffs have been stripped, and then you can actually use the Void Knight ultimate to put ability block on most of them. As long as they don't have any deflex on them, it's safe to use the Void Knight ult. If they do have still some deflex, especially Sylvie, make sure you use that special. But it's a super straightforward fight. There's videos on the counter sheet for those 2, but that's going to be it for Bifrost in room number 2. Next up is going to be Bifrost with Deathpool, and this has been something that people have been trying to use, thinking it's going to be great, it's awesome, we don't need new warriors on offense anymore, they're a team of the past, but unfortunately, this doesn't really do anything, and you can mirror this. So Pegasus still works here as long as you take out Kestrel as well, and just put in something big like APOC, because Deathpool does bring some interesting dynamics to the fight because she gives a lot of speed to this team. But you could just use your own Bifrost, and as long as it's a punch across or a small punch up, what happens is your Bifrost, they will go first, but then all of the retaliates will most likely kill everybody. Sylvie almost dies turn 1. people get super, super low. Bifrost is a pretty good mirror matchup here. And you don't need your death pool, and then you save your death pool for offense to use a full New Warriors team somewhere else. That's what I've seen work best here. I have seen a video of it work. I'm hoping it's on the counter sheet by the time this video comes out. But yeah, just mirror it, full Bifrost, and this goes down pretty easily. The next hybrid we're going to talk about is Bifrost with Super Scroll, dropping the Teen Loki, and the way to beat this is pretty simple, honestly. You use Cabal, Red Goblin, and Void Knight, and it absolutely deletes this. It's super straightforward, super easy, nothing crazy, and you don't even need your Super Scroll to be able to beat it. Do not put Super Scroll on defense. There's a little addendum here. Cabal just destroys them outright. But yeah, Void Knight, Cabal, and Super Scroll, and Red Goblin, and it's a really easy fight. Keeping with room number 2, the raid rules, we've got Pegasus, and the best way to beat this is going to be Bifrost of your own. That's right. It's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors, shoot matchup in room 2. Bifrost is a really good matchup here. They take an absolute butt whooping to start the match, but then they usually get the safeguard and the death proof and all that stuff, so then you don't have the issues. They'll get the safeguard turn 1 because Kestrel will give them safeguard because Hero Cosmic allies make Teen Loki give the entire team safeguard. And then honestly, once they take like 5 turns in a row, then you just go and you end up deleting all of them. You can also do a mirror matchup here, but I 1000% do not recommend it. This is only if you are in an absolute bind. And then the other option is if you have Cabal, obviously. Cabal, Super Scroll, and Emma does extremely well there as well. Or Hivemind Super Scroll will also do well here as kind of higher investment counters to be able to beat them. But Bifrost is going to be your best shot at beating them, and it works on pretty big punch-ups as well. The Pegasus mirror, I don't even consider it an option, but I'll talk about it. And then Super Scroll with either Hivemind is a great option, and then obviously Super Scroll with Cabal is another option for you guys. Next up in room number 2, we're going to be looking at Hivemind, and Hivemind on defense in room 2 is not too bad. Pegasus absolutely destroys this matchup. It's not even close. That's going to be your best counter for this one. If you don't have Pegasus on offense, there's not too much else that beats it solidly. You could try Bifrost, but unfortunately there is a lot of RNG because if your Sylvie gets ability block turn 1 by the Void Knight, then you pretty much lose from there. The only other option is going to be running a Super Scroll in here to be able to feed off of all that extra turn meter that they get from all the buffs. Super Scroll and 4 others is good here. You could use a Cabal here with Super Scroll, but I think SuS alone should be able to do this pretty well because he gets those rewinds and the ability block off rip onto Void Knight, goes before, and it kind of falls apart from there. But definitely don't underestimate this team. If you have Pegasus, that's going to be your absolute best option. Next up, we've got X-Treme+Rogue, and this is still in the raid room, and we're dropping Sunspot here. So for this, you have to use Pegasus. Pegasus does extremely well here and absolutely rolls it. Hivemind does not work here. It does not. Do not try Hivemind here. The problem is Void Knight will put a passive, because of his passive, he puts a slow. Instead of putting it on Nightcrawler, he puts it on Rogue here, which means their Nightcrawler goes before your team and it gets them rolling and you never take a turn. Do not try that. It is a terrible matchup. So you've got Pegasus and you've also got Cabal+SuS as a good option. There's also another option on the counter sheet, Superior 6, Vulture, and APOC, which is a lot to throw at this room. But unfortunately, if you don't have that Pegasus, it really puts you in a bind to counter this room. But it puts your enemy in a bind because then rooms 1 and 3 don't have that hybrid extreme back and forth. So that's how you're going to counter this one, Pegasus or APOC and Superior 6. Coming into room number 3, we've got Aggroed, and the first team we're going to look at is Gamma. Honestly, I'm not going to talk much about this. It doesn't matter the room. It's going to be the same counters to Gamma anywhere you see them. New Warriors do very well, and then obviously Pegasus also does extremely well. So room number 3, I did see 2 or 3 entries with Gamma, so I thought I would mention it, but still, New Warriors. MOE obviously beats it. Anything new really beats it, but the budget options are going to be obviously New Warriors, and then Pegasus will beat this very handedly. Continuing on with room number 3, we've got Infinity Watch. It is the team that just won't die. That's right, but it's the exact same counters that we've had before. This is actually even easier than room 3 of last season, where they got all the extra buffs and they stacked on each other. So Pegasus does well on punch acrosses or punch downs here. War Dogs does well on punch downs here. Obviously, a Superior 6 Mysterio would do really well here, but that's a super investment. The other ones is obviously APOC and Eternals is an absolute wipe. If you don't have the ability to use APOC here, you could do Eternals with Big Time Spider-Man, and then 2 other big hitters, Nova, Quicksilver, Omega Red, anything like that will take this out pretty well. Red Hulk's another good one as well to take out some revives. But it's Infinity Watch. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. It's nothing super crazy, but it still does take a pretty good team to beat it. Next up, we've got Superior 6, and Superior 6 is going to have the same counters it has had in the past, that Doom Super Scroll combo with like a Hela and then maybe an Eternals. You don't really need the Eternals, you just need 2 more heroes. Another option that's a little bit more budget sided is going to be Eternals, Doom, Minerva, and Noir. It does do a punch up as well. Placement is important there, so please watch that video before you attempt that one. That one is a crazy, crazy counter. But yeah, you also have APOC, Undying, and Doom, obviously. The same combo that we've had in the past. But yeah, this room doesn't really do anything to change the gameplay for Superior 6, but it does take big things to still take it out. Next up is Unlimited with Bishop, and this one is super straightforward. You literally just MOE this. It's not even a challenge. MOE absolutely destroys anything in this room whatsoever. If you're confident in your new warriors, you can also use new warriors here. They're a great option, but MOE is going to pretty much destroy everything in this room that's not like Superior 6 or something like that. But yeah, MOE is your best option, and then new warriors, if you're confident in them, can also work pretty well here. Last up is going to be full Extreme and or Extreme with Rogue. What you could do here is you can also MOE this. Again, these room rules for aggroed absolutely tailor to full MOE. It makes them insanely good. What you can also do here is you can do it like an MOE APOC if you want some insurance policy. Or you can also, you can't do new warriors here, so don't try new warriors at all here. New warriors does not work well at all in this room. Not in this room, but because of the Nightcrawler. So make sure you don't do that. This would take an MOE APOC. A Cabal might do well here. Maybe like a Cabal+SuS. SuS Hivemind could still take this room as well because SuS just carries that. But we're definitely using Hivemind a lot in room 2. But those are going to be your options for either full Extreme or Extreme with Rogue in room 3. Kicking off room number 4, we've got Black Order Vulture, and this is also going to include a Black Order Quicksilver, pretty much Black Order anything. There's a couple of counters to this that work really well. New Warriors with Big Time Spider-Man over Dagger works really well, and you'll use the Big Time Spider-Man ult on Thanos here, so it takes all of his buffs away, so he's a lot slower, and then New Warriors gets going. Vulture would ult turn 1, but everybody dodges it, so it doesn't matter. The other way you can counter this extremely well is a full Darkhold absolutely annihilates this. Like an 8368 or an 8369. It does really well here. Other options, obviously Superior 6 would destroy this. MOE would destroy this. Things you guys already know, but the 2 budget options are going to be the ones that I mentioned before. Next up, we're going to be talking about Cabal, Doom, and Super Scroll, and there's going to be 3 counters to this that are on the sheet. It's Cabal, Emma, and Omega Red worked pretty well on a punch up. Cabal, Kang, and Titania worked on a 400k punch up, and then Superior 6 with Mysterio over Lizard also worked. That was about a punch across, and these are all going to be on that sheet that will be linked down below as per usual. But this room does not take much to beat it. You have that Cabal, and Cabal absolutely neuters Super Scroll, and it goes really well from there. Next up, we've got a pretty interesting defense of Dorm, SuS, and Undying, and this one is also a punch up. It's Cabal, Vulture, and Emma. This one is pretty straightforward. Again, you get ahead of them really quickly, especially with the Cabal because of the speed. You have Emma to slow down their Super Scroll a good amount. Vulture ults turn 1, gets another big rewind out there. And this goes really straightforward. If you don't have the Vulture to rewind super quickly, a Quicksilver could be an option too, to throw a rewind out on Super Scroll a little bit faster as well, because Quicksilver goes faster than Super Scroll. The only other options here are honestly just Cabal and Kang and Titania would be another good option yet again. But that's about it. Again, Cabal is neutering Super Scroll, so that means keep your Cabal on offense. Unless you want to have them always, on defense, and then, they're pulling a good defense. But Cabal needs to stay on offense to take out pretty much any Super Scroll room. Next up, we've got Hivemind with Super Scroll, and a good counter to this that is on the sheet, Juicy did it, it's a punch up, is Super Scroll, Shang-Chi, Cabal, Vulture, and Doom. This is a super specific team, but it's a really good and cheap counter, honestly, because you're only using really Super Scroll and Doom. I guess you are using Vulture too, but this is a really great counter. Other counters to this are Super Scroll is going to also be the Doom. The APOC, Nova, Cabal, Emma, and just Weaver as a skirmisher. And what that does is that will get a turn 1 stun on Super Scroll. The problem is, if that does not land, if your Weaver is not big enough to land that stun trauma on Super Scroll, you lose because he's going to ult and you are going to die. And that's not good. So use that with caution. But the other counter that we talked about first, that Juicy found, is a really good option. Next up for room number 4 is going to be Out of Time Hybrids. So this is going to include Out of Time Dormammu, Out of Time Hulk, Red Hulk, Quicksilver Red Hulk, a bunch of things that you can see with Out of Time. So mainly, obviously, Superior 6 works really well. Cabal's still going to do really well here with 2 other villains. If you do Cabal+SuS here, it's literally like a turn 1 and everybody gets deleted because Super Scroll gets the extra damage and ults turn 1 in room 4. For the Out of Time Hulk and Red Hulk version, you can actually use the Tangle Web APOC Iron Man Infinity War Kestrel combo. Superior 6 Vulture works here. And then if it's smaller Out of Times and you are confident and you have a good New Warriors, APOC also does really well here. But there's a lot of options to this one, so please check out the sheet for this one because there's a lot of variants that people are throwing in here. So please check out the sheet for this one for a more in-depth counter and also the videos behind it. All right, coming into room number 5, we've got Infinity Watch, and once again, it's going to be the exact same counters that we talked about in room number 3. So it's super straightforward. You got Eternals, you've got big time to take the revives off, you special on Nebula, Nova, Quicksilver, Omega Red, anybody else big that's going to do a lot of damage. You could also do like an Undying combo here with Eternals, Undying, and big time. APOC Eternals is obviously the bread and butter. Superior 6 Mysterio, if you've really got some leftovers. You can also do War Dogs here on a punch across, but I don't recommend War Dogs. They're not the best. But yeah, it's the same counters that we talked about in room number 3. Nothing really changes for room 5, although there is some RNG if Nebula does put an unfortunate blind on your Icarus and Icarus does not clear it, then the matchup will fail, but that is a big RNG factor that I absolutely found out in round number 3 of week 1, but it is what it is, so let's get into the next counter. Next up is going to be a creation of mine, Infinity Watch with Black Knight, and Black Knight is coming in over Moonstone, and the reason why you put Black Knight in here is he's just a nuisance. He pretty much guarantees that Apocalypse needs to be here to make this a really clean fight. APOC Eternals and BTS, the same combo, does really well here. But if you try to do this without an APOC, it is not a fun time. So trying to do this with just Eternals, big time Spider-Man, Nova, Quicksilver, those kind of characters, you can do it, but the Black Knight just takes you to town real quick. So it's not the funnest time, especially if it's a big Infinity Watch and you can't get a double tap on Nebula. But using APOC in here is absolutely a great insurance policy to destroy this team. Coming in with Superior 6 in room number 5, this is going to be the exact same thing that we've been talking about before. It's going to be that Doom, it's going to be that Super Scroll, and those 2 other characters that you can throw in here for fun. The other one that's going to work is SuS, Doom, Eternals, Doom, Minerva, and Noir can also work here. And then another counter is SuS, Doom, Hela, Minerva, and Falcon. That's a dorky special. It's a 1.5 million punch up. So it's literally 3 idiots to give some speed and sus and doom. So it's an absolutely awesome counter if you guys are really, really strapped and have a good defense. But Superior 6 gets taken care of pretty much the same way it does in room number 3. So let's keep on going. Last up, we're going to be talking about Extreme, Rogue, and Black Knight. And the way to counter this is going to be Cabal, Super Scroll, and APOC. It was a punch up as well. It's actually pretty far down on the counter sheet. I've only seen this once ever, and this is the only entry we have in here to beat this so far. So that's going to be the best option you guys have here. You're essentially just going to raw power this with the Cabal, the extra damage from APOC and Super Scroll. It takes a lot to take out this room, but remember, then they will not have any extreme or unlimited combos in 1 or 3, or have the Extreme Rogue in 2, so it weakens their defense a lot for one big team. But that's going to be it for room number 5. Coming into room number 6, the first team we're going to be talking about is going to be Secret Defenders with Dormammu, and it's going to be the same counter if it's a full Secret Defenders, Dormammu, or Secret Defenders Quicksilver as well. You're just going to full New Warriors it. It goes by really, really easily. It's super straightforward, nothing too crazy. You always want to try to rewind the Robbie Reyes if you can. Sometimes he'll be on the corner over here next to Black Cat. So you can also use the Firestar special on Black Cat, so you can flip some stuff there and then still be able to get some rewinds here. There's a couple different ways to play it. The counters will be in the counter sheet once again. But that's going to be it for SD with Dorm, Quicksilver, or full SD. Keeping it going with everybody's favorite hybrid, SD Noir. And there's 2 counters to this one. The first one is going to be New Warriors with Lizard over Dagger. And what this does is it means Lizard will go right after Noir, and he will take all of the buffs off of all the Secret Defenders. He will also get Taunt, which means Ms. Marvel will rewind on the Lizard because it's not Arena, so she doesn't hit the guy with the highest speed, which means you can mitigate that RNG and take that RNG completely out of the fight. The other way you could do this is actually putting in Emma over Dagger, and what this does is this makes it so this slows down Noir, and this means Ms. Marvel Hardlight will go first before Noir. So Ms. Marvel Hardlight will go, and her ult and rewind will be dodged 100% of the time, and then Noir goes. The problem with this counter is if Noir hits 3 people, puts a lot of bleeds out there, it can change the turn order and make Robbie go a lot faster. But I have used this counter, and it does work. The Emma next to the death pool is a good idea as well to make sure that Black Cat can't chain over to the death pool to steal those charges from her, because Emma's going to take 1 hit and die pretty quickly. But these are 2 really good options to take out SD Noir. Next up is what Juicy has been running and telling everybody to run in room number 6. It's going to be SD with MLF and Dormammu. This is to make sure that New Warriors can't work very well. Obviously, the placement does matter as well, making MLF next to Black Cat on the corner. So New Warriors does not work here. Superior 6 has been the main counter to this, but obviously it does pull a Superior 6. I haven't seen Cabal into this, but I'm sure Cabal with 2 other big characters could do really well here too. Just don't underestimate this room. And then the only other thing that I've seen beat this is going to be an SD of their own and Quicksilver dropping Doctor Strange, but not a lot of us have that Secret Defenders on offense. But I wanted to drop it in here just in case you guys do for whatever reason. Next up, we've got another SD hybrid, the one I've been running, the MLF and Emma. This has the same effects as the room we talked about previously with Dormammu in here, because it means that New Warriors can't go into here because of the speed issues with the Emma, and then also MLF puts that ability block on Cloak. I made MLF a skirmisher as well to make sure she can land those ability blocks and those negative effects. But the way you're going to be able to beat this is going to be Superior 6 once again, taking a big, big win here. Cabal can do really well here too. Cabal, Emma of your own, or APOC to counteract their Emma, and then another big villain would also do really well here. Again, Cabal is the new team, so we're trying to test out a lot of stuff to see what 2 works with them the best. I've seen Emma Doom work really well on this before, so that's another option for you guys. But yeah, Cabal does really well here, and then also Superior 6. Last up, we're going to be talking about Super Scroll with Secret Defenders, and there's going to be 2 counters to this one. It's going to be Cabal with Lizard and Vulture, or Cabal with APOC and Lizard. These are the only 2 options that I've seen in the counter sheet right now. Obviously, Lizard's really good because there's Spider-Verse characters there, steals all the buffs, and then the Super Scroll won't get that speed bar because of the Cabal members being there. Making Lizard a Raider is probably a good idea as well, because that'll be a villain critting, so it'll give the speed up to your team because of the Namor passive, so that'd be really good. And then obviously Vulture goes really fast too, again, as a Raider, because there's a bunch of heroes here. There's what, 3 heroes here, so he's going to go way faster as well. So it's going to be that Cabal with Lizard and Vulture, or Cabal with APOC and Lizard. Obviously, APOC being in here isn't the most beneficial, but it's another way to get it done. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one, the Counter Everything Guide for Season 7. Just as a disclaimer, again, this is just after week number 1 of Cosmic Crucible, so there will be more defenses that those mischievous content creators come out with, and I will release more counters to those as they come. But make sure you guys check out the counter sheet as well. It'll be linked in the description down below. And also join a Discord that myself and Juicy are in and have created to give out Cosmic Crucible help in real time. So if you guys want to post some screenshots there, we can help out. Also, you can make your own submissions to the spreadsheet by getting in that Discord and submitting your videos into that channel. And you can get featured on the counter sheet as well as one of my videos, and I'll give you a shout out for finding out some really, really cool counters. But until next time, this has been Duelum. Later, y'all.